it's Risa with another speed build. So, if you have somehow only been watching me for my Sims content, well done you. You do not know that my Twitch channel originally started as a channel with my sister where we played the Nancy Drew games. The Nancy Drew games by Her Interactive have been going since, I think, 1998. There are now 33 games. So you might say that I have been a little into them for many years. The first one we ever bought was Message in a Haunted Mansion. My sister Ariana got it for Christmas, I think, in 2000 or 2001. I don't remember. Whichever year it came out, she got it for Christmas. Or she got it for her birthday the next year. I don't know. This is a long-winded way to say that I am building the mansion from Message in a Haunted Mansion in this speed build. I specifically did not make it a haunted house for reasons. And if you've played the games, you'll know the reasons. But if you haven't played the game, I don't want to spoil it for you. But you can definitely make it a haunted house yourself. If you have paranormal stuff, which I hope you do, because a lot of the stuff I used in this build is from the paranormal pack that just came out. Because I specifically wanted to do it now, because there are some specific items that came with the new pack that immediately made me think of this house, which is called the Golden Gardenia, and it is supposed to be a Victorian mansion in San Francisco that the owners are trying to fix up to become a bed and breakfast. So that's my little spiel about the game. I have been obsessed with this mansion since I was 8 years old. I absolutely love it. I think it is fantastic. I've always wanted to go there. So that's kind of how this is. So it's this gigantic mansion. However, in the game, you can't go in every single room. So this speed build is me just doing furnishing and building the rooms that are canon. So the rooms that exist in the game that you can go into and look around in. You can't interact with everything and stuff like that, so I've only done the things that you can actually do. You might notice, however, that there is a whole, separate part of the mansion that appears later in the video, and that is because I needed to make it look like a regular house from the outside, and what they give us in the game, that's not enough to make an actual house. So I have kind of gone off of what the, art at the beginning of the game, and from there's, a picture on the CD case, right? That's kind of what I've taken inspiration from. However, both of those are different houses, for one thing, and for another thing, they don't actually match what's going on the inside of the house. So I just kind of took inspiration from that instead. So right now I'm starting with the room that Nancy herself is staying in. It's called the Chinese room or something like that. There's a bunch of Chinese art and stuff like that. It's a little problematic, but we're not going to talk about that right now. But what I did is there is a Tumblr blog, which I will link below, who they go around and they take screenshots from every possible angle in every Nancy Drew game. I think they've done all the games. And what I did was I took all of those screenshots together and I used those as a reference. So if you see me pausing at any moment in this, which I don't think you will because I had to do a lot of speeding things up. But if there are any moments where I'm not doing anything, it's because I had all of those pictures on my Kindle right next to me while I was doing this, so I could just look over at the reference and be able to see what was going on and what I needed. So I was having to go between I just kind of, as you can see, I kind of rotate the room and just kind of go in a circle, because in the Nancy Drew games, well, most of them, you're standing in a fixed spot, and you can like rotate bit by bit in these earlier games. Like you can just kind of rotate your view like one bit at a time. So this is the third game in the series. As I already said, there are 33 games. Kind of 34 if you count the remastered version of the first game. But I don't count that because it's basically just the same game. So I, at some point, would like to do more Nancy Drew builds on this channel, because Nancy Drew is, like, it's my biggest, I guess, fandom. I don't know. I don't know how else to put it, but I have been involved in the Nancy Drew fandom, and I play the Nancy Drew games pretty regularly on my Twitch channel, Krollmeister Sisters. My sister also plays them. She is the other Krollmeister sister. Krollmeister itself comes from the Nancy Drew games. It's not our real last name. It is from the Nancy Drew games, which is why I'm Risa Kroll Sims on here, because I've taken Krollmeister as my name at this point, online at least. So, this is the third game, as I was saying, and it's all very low graphics for, like, the characters, but they were already able to, like, the actual set itself is very detailed. So, which, by the way, it's so detailed that I took about 4 hours in all to do this mansion. The original version of this video had, it was about 57 minutes long, and I had to, it's at like 8 times speed so you guys can see what's going on and not have to sit here and watch for an entire hour. And that was just the canon stuff. I spent another like 2 hours, like, on my own, just doing all of the, like, landscaping, the outside of the house, and, like, furnishing. I added an entire other wing, because we see that in hallways that doors are going off to these places, but we don't know what's behind those doors. So I created things behind those doors to make it a usable house. You could actually make this a rental lot to actually make it a bed and breakfast. However, this comes in at a whopping 360 simoleons to buy. So as a rental lot, that would make it, let me think, that should be about 30,000 simoleons a night. That's incredibly ridiculous, but, it is what it is. So, that was Nancy's room. I've moved down to the parlor downstairs, which is it's directly under Nancy's room, and I was actually quite shocked that they kept the architecture so that it did fit. So, the shape of Nancy's room in the game is the same shape as the parlor downstairs. So that was really, really helpful for me, because it meant that I didn't have to, like, fuss around too much. What I actually ended up doing to get the, like, shape of all of these rooms is I got some graph paper, and I looked through screenshots of the game, and I walked around in the game. I have it. I have 2 copies of the game. My sister, Ariana, has our like, physical CD copy of the game. She has all of our physical copies. I also have it on Steam. So this is my Steam this is my Steam version of the game that I was playing on. But I went through every single room I could, and I approximated what it would be in The Sims. Of course, I've talked about this on the channel before, but Sims scaling is really weird. It doesn't quite work as it should. So everything's a little, like, bigger than it should be. So to be able to get it to look right, I've had to scale some things down and kind of squish some things together, and it works. It ends up working, in my opinion. So I'm actually really, really proud of this. My husband was kind of helping me with all of the non-canon areas, because he's English, so he knows what Victorian homes should look like. So he was helping me, and when I was showing him screenshots of the game, and then I was showing him what I did, he was like, this is creepily, like, accurate. And I was like, yeah, thank you. That's the greatest compliment you could give me right now. It is creepily accurate. And I enjoy doing that. It's one of my favorite things to do in The Sims, actually, is to take things that are in other video games and translating them to The Sims, because I enjoy, it's kind of like a puzzle. Same thing as like doing a real house would also be like that. But it's kind of like a puzzle in the way that I'm looking at what is real or in this other game, and I'm trying to figure out how I can make it look the most accurate in The Sims. And something about that really just tickles me, and I don't know why. So I finished the parlor there. Now I'm moving on to the study, which is where one of the characters, Lewis, he stays in this room. And you can poke around and everything. There are supposed to be built-in bookshelves in this room, but in The Sims, we don't really have that. So what I have done is I have created, like, wall-to-wall bookshelves on those sides. There is a secret room that I have furnished behind that one bookshelf, which is fantastic. I had a lot of fun doing that. I really enjoy doing that kind of thing, and I think it looks like enough like it does in the game that you, like, if you're looking at it, you're like, yeah, I know that that's a secret, like, room. Like, that bookshelf is obviously not the same as the other bookshelves, but I think it gets the feeling, you know? It gets the feeling across. There are a lot of things in this like build where in the actual game it's like a little alcove, and I kind of had fun trying to figure out how to do those and how to make them look okay. So, you know, I did it. I had fun. Also, I used that it's like well-traveled rug. It's from what's it called? Get Famous. It comes in two different, like, it comes in a bunch of swatches, but it comes in two different swatches that I used for this build. It is like a weathered one, as well as a whatchamacallit, just a regular one. So I used that a lot, and I also used the rug from the new pack Paranormal stuff a lot, because that one was absolutely perfect for a lot of the rooms, especially Abby's room, which is upstairs, and we'll see that later. But I'm so happy with how this came out. This game is so full of nostalgia for me, especially knowing that we got The Sims for the first time around the same time as we had this game. So we did kind of try to make this in the original Sims game that came out in 2000. We tried to make it like that. And we did not succeed, because in The Sims 1, it was, yeah, no. It just didn't, there was nothing really to do for this. It wasn't very in-depth. Obviously, the art style was more pixely than actual realism, right? Because, like, The Sims 4, it's kind of gone towards it's cartoony, but it's still towards the realism side. So I appreciate that. So that was the study. Now I'm working on Abby's room. Abby is one of the owners of this bed and breakfast. Well, would be bed and breakfast. She is she's very into, like, the supernatural and stuff. So I wanted to use a lot of the paranormal stuff pack in her room, because I think it ended up great. I'm actually really proud of what I did here. She has like a tapestry with the moon on it behind her bed. So or the sun, it's the sun. So I took that wall sculpture with the sun on it, and I put it in front of a tapestry so that it looks like it's part of it. I'm so excited about that. I did actually add bathrooms. In this game, you can't see any of the bathrooms, but they have to be there somewhere. So I built 5 bathrooms. There are 4 bathrooms upstairs that are like communal bathrooms. And then I have a suite downstairs with oh, what is it? It's what I'm thinking of as the accessible room. So it's downstairs, it's a bedroom, and it has an ensuite. Because I was thinking that, like, if you were having people, like, come to stay at this bed and breakfast, right? You would want them to, like, be able to have everyone kind of stay there. So I built that more, like, accessible room because it's down on the ground floor and all of that. I thought that was nice. I was just, like, overthinking everything. And I understand that I was overthinking everything, but I don't care. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all out. Like, if you don't do something right, then what's the point, really? You know what I mean? At least that's for me. I understand. I wouldn't ever think that for anyone else. Like, other people, I'm like, yeah, just do your best, right? For me, I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Because why not? If I can, I will. And in this case, I could. I don't know how usable this house really is, to be honest. Some of these things probably aren't, but I'm pretty sure you can use at least one side of this bed in here. Same with the one in Nancy's room. The rooms that aren't canon are all definitely usable. So here I am doing the dining room, which is a place where Rose, one of the owners, she sits in there the whole time when you want to go talk to her. It has some very interesting stuff going on. Technically, that table needs to be even longer. It needs to be able to have 4 chairs on each side, but we don't have that in The Sims, so I used this one. It's just kind of ridiculous. I understand that it's ridiculous, but I still wanted to try and get it as good as possible. Also, all of the curtains I've done in this build are like, they are a curtain behind and then curtains in front to look the way that it looks in the game. Also, here's a little alcove that is like, it's like plaster in the back, and it has like these stained glass, like, they're not actually windows though, they're just like there. So I've included windows to kind of get like the feeling of it, because I think that worked. I also had a lot of trouble like deciding on doors in this build, because I feel like the doors, like a lot of the doors are very iconic in this game. So I really wanted to make sure I was getting the feeling of them, even if I couldn't get like the actual way they looked properly. So I think I end up not keeping these doors that I just put down. I used something else in the actual build, and I don't remember what it is, and I don't know if I actually changed it on screen or if I just changed it later. I think I just changed it later. But I went back and forth a bunch on what doors I wanted, and I didn't think that was worth having in something that you guys were watching. I really wanted to have, like, there's, like, a bunch of candles on these, like, it's, like, 4 separate candles on these little, end tables going on here. And, and they're all red. So I just used that candelabra and it worked. In my opinion. So now we're in the basement, which is, like, it's filled with stuff. It's where one of the characters, Charlie, he's always down there. And there's an entire seance that happens down here. So I actually was able to include the seance table from the new pack, and I'm so excited. But this is like, the basement used to be like an old saloon or something like that, like canonically. And I tried to kind of get that feeling, but I also wanted to keep like the feelings of it being like still under construction. I tried to make the rest of the place look like it was actually finished, but I wanted it to feel more like it was still under construction down here. So I did a couple tricks to do that, and that's mostly that there are like these fake cardboard boxes and stuff that are just kind of like piled up places. So, and to make the bar, like the bar down there really is like curved around so that it like still, it's like connected to the wall. So what I did was I used a half wall to kind of do that, and I thought that was pretty good. And there's fireplaces in like every single room in this build. Like, honestly, I'm just like, why? Why are there so many down here? Like, everywhere, every single room. So then in the rooms I did off screen, I also added a lot of I also just added a lot of fireplaces because, like, why not? Oh, also there's supposed to be an upright piano down here, but The Sims 4 doesn't have upright pianos for some reason. So I had to include a keyboard instead because a grand piano would not fit in there. So now I'm up in the attic, which is one of the places where, this is actually the room I had the most fun doing because I'm just like piling up trash and stuff basically. In the game, Nancy goes up to this attic. It has a trap door, so you can't actually see what is going on in there, but I decided to, hey, did those go away? Oh man, when I had to move the lot. I had to move the lot when I was going to landscape it. I built this on a gigantic lot in Brundleton Bay, and because I didn't know how big I needed it a lot to be able to actually fit this entire place on it, because it was 30 tiles long. So what I did was I just built it on a 64 by 64 lot, and then I ended up being able to move it to a 30 by 40 lot in Willow Creek. So I think when I placed it in Willow Creek, all of those columns went away, which is a bummer. But that's fine. And that, kids, is why you always, well, I know that nothing else disappeared. So that's weird. It's very weird, but oh well. It's fine. It's up in the gallery without the columns, but that's okay. So if you want it, you can download it. I made sure, because in the game, it's a very important part of it, that underneath the chandelier, there is a hidden treasure. And so I did make sure to include that. There's also on the banisters at the bottom, a very big part, it's just like a huge gameplay thing, is that there are these like gold phoenix statues. And we don't have anything like that in The Sims. So I used cat statues instead. And you know what? It works. It looks pretty good, in my opinion, and it gets like the feeling of it. It doesn't, like, there's all these meanings to it, and I'm like, nah, it's fine. It doesn't matter. That's what we have, you know? I was also really excited about those get-together benches because they work, like, perfectly. I mean, you can't sit there, but they work. I did end up having to, like, move things around because of that, because there's also supposed to be a grandfather clock right next to it, which I'm about to put down. So I just had to move things over, and it wasn't exactly how I wanted it to be, but that's okay. It happens. Also, kills me. In this house, there are so many, like, almost all of the curtains are just red. Like, straight up, the curtains are red for no reason. Even in this green foyer, the curtains are red and the chairs are red. And I'm like, dude, really? We're gonna do this? We're gonna do these red and green together? It kills me. It's so tacky. It's so tacky. But that's okay. See, now you can see, like, from the outside what I kind of ended up doing with the, like, shape of it, at least. I made, like, a big porch and stuff. The front door has a stained glass effect, so I ended up using this door instead of one that fit the shape more because I liked the colors of the stained glass. So I'm getting to the end of the build now, and then we'll go into screenshots. I hope you guys like this. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big old thumbs up and leave a comment telling me what you like about it. Or if you've played these games, please let me know. And what other things from the Nancy Drew games should I build? Because I absolutely had a blast doing this. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and hit that bell button to get a notification every time I post a new video. If you would like to watch me play Nancy Drew live, make sure to follow my Twitch channel, Krollmeister Sisters. I mean, you can subscribe if you want, but I'm not requiring it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out, y'all.